Welcome to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, revolution.radio. This is Planet Collingwood, coming you from the deep bowels of Nuttawading, which is just out the front of Mount Pleasant Road bus stop. But that's still, my name is Monty Dean. A big thank you to Why Not and the Y-Files and the gentlemen, all the crew. I do find it fascinating. We have the elders on, and then my silly little program follows up. So I'm wondering if sensible people switch off and go, oh, crap, not again. Anyway, there you are. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to said website, freedomslips.com or revolution.radio, and donate what you can to continue having the longest running crowdsourced radio station on the planet, because we're 100% listener supported and 100% volunteer. So there's a lot of 100% in there. So $5 here, $5 there. I've done the maths. If you just pay $10 a year, we should get enough people to float the boat. What the hell am I doing? Anyway, and once you're at the website, buy some T-shirts or caps and check out the archives if you missed any shows, and then pop into the chat room, which is chatting away. I can see, I'm going to turn romper room. I can see all hail the Row Nation, Omega Logos. I'm going to get that right one day, probably the day I leave. I'm going to go, and this is his name. Good night. He's doing a audio check for us, so we have to wait 30 seconds. It is an open round table. It's a comedy show, so after last week, we'll see how we go this week. I've got 2 or 3 talking points, but who knows where we'll end up. We'll just probably even laugh at each other. But that's the main thing. Don't hit this desk, right? I have been joined by my intrepid correspondents across this fabulous planet, which is in the shape of a pretzel. Let's just get that out of the way. I have been joined by, and I'm going to say the name, and then you can say hello. Just a bit of, so I can say all 3 names, and you all say no. No? You say no. Oh, I've been rejected. Steve Zerilath, how are you, sir? We are broadcasting live, so he's part of the Planet Collingwood. He's the satellite of, not Planet Zerilath, Zerilath Moon. Steve, how are you?
Yes, I am mooning all of you on Planet Collingwood. It is full.
That works for me, yeah. Excellent.
You're on D-Live. I'm doing well.
Yeah, excellent. We're deliving, which is delightful. Yeah, I know. We've also been joined by our Central American correspondent, Bruce Mcdonald, the gringo on the hill. Eh? How are you, Bruce?
All in, Monty. All in.
Yeah. I was playing you again. Damn it. As well as our New South Welshman, that poor bastard. Cortek, how are you, my friend?
G'day.
Oh, is that your new chime for your door?
I was just looking at funny things to go along with Bruce's all in. It might take a second.
Was that like a barbershop quartet?
Hello. I thought we were going to do with that when he read all 3 names out. It would be great. No. Okay, so this is a joke. Okay.
Well, that's just setting it up well.
Oh, jeez, that's harsh. Geez, there's a guy who lives in Ohio. One morning he hears a voice in his head. The voice says, "Quit your job, sell your house, take your money, and go to Las Vegas." He ignores the voice. Later on in the day, he hears the voice again. Quit your job, sell your house, take all your money, and go to Las Vegas. Again, he ignores the voice. Soon he hears the voice every minute of the day. Quit your job, sell your house, take your money, and go to Las Vegas. He can't take it anymore. He believes the voice. He quits his job, sells his house, takes his money, and flies to Las Vegas. As soon as he steps off the plane, the voice says, "Go to the horseshoe." He goes to the horseshoe. The voice says, "Put all your money into a World Series of Poker entry." He puts up his $10,000 and buys an entry into the WSOP. He goes to his assigned tournament table. His first hand is dealt, and the guy is dealt ace of spades and ace of diamonds. The voice says, "Go all in." He pushes in his entire $10,000 bankroll into the pot. 3 players call. The dealer lays down the flop, which is Jack of Hearts, 10 of Hearts, and 9 of Hearts. The voice says, "Shit."
I like that. Yeah, a bit of God humor there. I mean, obviously we needed a cut lunch to get to the punchline, but still, we got there. It was good. When you said, there was a man in Ohio, I was like, did he find some gold plates and start a religion? No, I've heard that before.
Is that where Waco was?
No, well, see, I don't know the Mormon religion. That do you know how the Mormon religion started? Joseph Smith found some gold plates that disappeared later, and
I love that bit where he was asked to rewrite them or something. No,
you
I
have
can
to translate
that at home.
Only I can read these. Where are they? Oh, they've been taken back. Right. So, one of the galactic races does have a sense of humor. Zorog, I've got an idea. What are you doing with those Easter egg foils? I'm going to send them down to Earth, right? And they're going to start a religion. They'll settle in Salt Lake City. Fair enough. And then they'll have a big arch, which looks like a hook. And then once our evil plan goes, they build a dome, and we can take away Salt Lake City, just like Brainiac. I've been watching way too many comic book movies and stuff, haven't I?
Like what?
Yeah. Well, no, Brainiac is
Pinky and the Brain doesn't count. That's just old time.
No, that's documentary worth. That's the New World Order. What are we doing tonight? The same thing we've been trying to do for thousands of years. Try and take over the world. Speaking of egotistical elitist twonkers, I've been watching a lot of Brave New World, and apparently the future's going to be basically like a rave. Everyone on drugs, orgies, and bad music. I know that's probably the worst book review of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, but there you are.
I don't know. I thought you were kind of talking it up there. You attracted to a lot of people with that kind of write-up. In the reviews, I
can have unprotected sex with everybody and be high on drugs. I like the appeal. Yeah, but this goes on for centuries. I sort of grow out of my drug phase. Shut up and take this. You don't have no feeling attachment, and you will be happy. Sounds like the Great Reset. Tonight's show is called Who Wants to Whine Like a Millionaire? And I know it's a distraction, but I'm going to talk about the Harry and, is it Meghan? I don't know. All I know is that she's 13% black, and she's playing the race card and wore a dress that looks like the seagulls took target practice on her. And also, if you're familiar with the Oprah interview, where it was basically two millionaires talking to a billionaire in an idyllic villa, and they talked about oppression. Nothing sus. So I only saw a minute of it. I'm like, I'm going to throw up.
I'm astounded anyone tuned into it.
And of course, they're talking about oppression while not wearing masks, I assume.
Yeah, but strangely enough, something is on Oprah's ankle. And until verified, it does look like a bracelet, a prison bracelet. Well, something's, unless she's hiding her Winnie Blues down there. That's a cigarette reference for everyone outside of Australia. Pack of Marlboros. Yeah, she doesn't look like a smoker. Did we see any of this mass distraction? Because it's the latest thing that's out there, and of course, Steve, being from the United States, you clearly don't care because you had a war about this 200 years ago. Yes, and then you had 1812. What happened there? Anyway, did you see any of it, or you actually have a life to lead and don't care?
What, 1812?
No. Well, Megan. We could talk about 18. That's the 1812's the interesting part. The Oprah interview.
Oh no. I'm pretty well disconnected now. It's pretty good for me. I'm good. I'm real good. The drama, they can have as many baby sacrifices as the people think they deserve.
Well, yeah, this is a couple, of course, that left the royal family and wanted their privacy, and then went on national television across the world with one of the most popular talk show hosts on the planet. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Bruce, being a fellow Commonwealthian, what are we? Subjects? What's the Canadian point of view?
You're a bunch of commoners.
You got it.
Common all over the place.
You got it, Monty. We're subjects.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about maths or science. We're just the plebs, the peasantry. Did you see any of it all? Because you're in Central America and you don't care. You have a life as well.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
Yeah, I thought, I know, I could fill 2 hours of bagging on the elite, and I don't care. I'm like, yeah, well, fair enough. I've learned something today.
It's over.
He's all out.
I think that they're supposed to. I think it's that one that's supposed to be announced as like the Antichrist or something like that. They've been talking about him ever since the little lamb picture, that kind of thing. So that's what I've heard.
I thought it was the older brother.
Well, yeah, the one that actually looks like Charles, yeah.
The one that was actually from Prince Charles.
Yeah,
his mum.
Cortek, being an Australian, care factor low.
Care factor, I knew it had happened after the fact.
Well, no, that's a good way of.
For one reason or another, I was at some retail place being served by an old woman, and she goes, "Oh, did you see the interview last night?" And I'm like, "Oh no, what was it?" "Oh, this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
See, another person that has a life.
Very.
I feel attacked. I need to find a life now. What's going on? Anyway, that's another conversation.
I can't believe anyone would tune into it.
Well, that's there's pageantry and tradition, but remember, it used to be tradition that the kings and queens would actually lead their army into battle. It's like, well, let's bring that back. Can you imagine Liz on horseback going, "Okay, gents, let's go"? I mean, she's 98 or something, so Prince Philip does look like a stunt double of Emperor Palpatine from the Star Wars franchise. So.
I can't believe that dude's still alive. Having the best, most pure drugs in the world.
No, have you seen a photo of him? Someone looks like the Hulk came down and was like Hulk smash, bang, bang, bang. Like the adrenochrome's been.
I mean, it's got a very Weekend at Andrews kind of vibe. That one picture I saw of him, he just looked like a dressed up corpse in a car. It's like his mouth was a little bit agape. His eyes were like this dry, bloodshot thing. Yeah, and it's just like this guy's holding a lot of hope that he's gonna get that synthetic transference taken care of. There isn't much of a draconian left in him.
Yeah, he's definitely going for that transhumanism. However, this same man, who is portrayed by Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor in the first 2 seasons of The Crown. And once again, my review of The Crown is I really love the characters and care about this family. Couldn't give a toss about the real people. But the characters, they're awesome. Prince Philip actually has said, I think it was in the 80s, it's like, when I die, I hope to come back as a life-threatening disease for this planet. Like, yeah, that's the type of leader you want. I hate you all and I want you to die.
In a good way, though.
So I have more hunting passages. There's too many useless eaters with their houses and children.
More carrion for the animals I'm hunting.
Yeah, unless we hunt the dangerous person, the most dangerous animal, man himself. Anyway, he's a predator, and I don't wish death on him because he's that close anyway. We just have to wait. Let's be fair, bit of non-karma committal there. Don't wish he's dead. We just have to wait 5 minutes because he looks like his death warmed up. Let's be fair. Oh, it's interesting as well that it is a mass distraction, and I don't know what else is going on in the world, mainly because there's a lot of us disconnecting, which is kind of interesting to try and fill 2 hours on Revolution Radio, because you get reports on a lot of things, and from aliens to pole shift to, dare I say, the QAnon and stuff. There's actually Blue Anon, which is the left's conspiracy theories, and of course they're being censored because they don't want to be pointed out.
Does it have anything to do with the blue chickens?
No, that's a totally different franchise.
What's the blue chickens?
The blue chickens are cheating on the UFO crowd with the autists. I think them and
Cortek. The blue chickens were brought up by David Wilcock and Corey Good, and they're the latest saviors in the galactic arena who they'll save us all. And of course there's a lot of Kentucky Fried Chicken jokes now.
And that's and I'm serious, like, follow the logic of the Blue Avians of David Wilcock and follow the logic of I'm calling it the PSYOP, or you realize it's a PSYOP, like that was a PSYOP.
Yeah, especially like
Yeah.
on this planet where go with the Hopi. They're kind of smart. Well, they're not kind of. They are smart. They have their creation myth is like we walked through a Stargate and turned up, and here we are. And we are the ones that we're waiting for. You are the fractal of the Prime Creator. So therefore, you are God who's going to save it. You are your own savior, and you can reach Christhood if you fill out some forms.
Oh, and by the way, your guardian angels are an ant colony.
Is that true?
Yes.
The
Hopi believe that there's a network of guardian psychic ants under the earth, and Hopi are correct about this.
Well, let's go to Bruce because he's been dealing with the galactic historian, so I'm sure he's got a tidbit here or there. Go ahead, sir.
The ant people are part of the inner Earth. The inner Earth species combined are about 45 billion, right? So, and surface numbers are way off. There's way more than 7.5 billion people on this planet. But yeah, the ant people are real. Yeah.
Are they related to the small ants? Like, should we be better people to the small ants to get better treatment from the ant people overlords?
I don't know.
Well, I for one, I welcome our sugar-eating ant lords.
I'm pretty sure as long as we're not trying to make like molten, like gold statues of like ant colonies, then I think we're not like doing unacceptable harm. Like I've seen these beautiful art. It's just like they take an ant colony. Like big ants, like fire ants, like these guys that make these big ones, and they pour like a molten metal down it and let it harden in the form of the colony, and then they pull it up out of the dirt.
It's incredible to see the structure in networks, isn't it?
Yeah. They actually
like that's kind of like what they say is going to happen in the Bible.
It's very much like those big underground places in Turkey. It looks
that's like in Ragnarok when Muspelheim and all the fire giants go nuts and just burn all the realms to the ground.
Well, you beat me there, Steve, because I was going to say, let's not put a hose down a hole into Algartha and flush them out. But I completely forgot about someone's gone, you know what? I've got some molten lead. Let's pour it down an ant hole and see what happens.
There was no scientific thinking going on before that first
Jerry,
time they had that done.
You're a cut up, Jerry.
Look what Jerry's doing.
Yeah, I think that's Aust Paul's joined us, but he's got his camera on, which is not good for radio.
See the roof.
Yeah, I know that's pure excitement. See, look at the corners. Yeah, it's also eating up bandwidth. So
yeah, kill it.
I'm trying.
Jerry, you're a handsome man, but thank you.
Yay! I'm off. Sorry about that, fellas.
That's all right. We know you're alive and you found the mute button, so everything's fine. Did you catch the interview with Oprah and Harry and that other woman?
No, I'm not too sure.
If you're not sure, that's no.
I'm proud of every single one of you. None of us care. This is what you get. This is what you get for encouraging all your friends to be bodhisattvas.
Well, also, who wants to watch, Oprah talk to an ex-soldier and an ex-actress?
I think only really old people now. I mean, what's the use of having an entire network of disseminating information if no one's watching?
Well, it's the monarchy, and the only reason that the monarchy's still around because it's tradition. It's like, no. I
don't understand how people in the UK eat that shit up. If they have someone out in a horse and carriage, you've got. I guess I'm guessing they're making the flags themselves, but you've got all these old biddies down the side of the street, waving these little flags of oppression. Like what? What is it? Is it an age thing?
It's part of yes, because it's part of the spell where who was that liberal guy? I love Australia. Our conservatives are called liberals. Stupid freaking political party. Menzies
flushed the wrong way, so yeah.
Well, no, gravity. Take it up with gravity, not us.
Coriolis effect. I love that on Simpsons.
All your maps are wrong. Australia is on top. I'm sorry to bring that up. But
Can I-
Robert
can I
Menzies,
just-
which
go
was
on.
the Prime Minister for 17 years, he started the Liberal Party, and he's hard blue conservative, and he was such a monarchist that, I just saw her just passing by. It was like, yeah, because our sovereign is, she's actually the Queen of Australia, and most Australians are like, yeah, and so, it's kind of pointless, but we have to wait for a generation 2 to die out, because that's why they keep pushing it in the media. It's like, look, a prince, look what he's doing. It's like, yeah, he landed on a plane and got in a car and went to a tourist spot.
It's so
I
stuffed
do
with
that.
content.
I get in trouble.
Does your
What are you talking
government
about?
does your government kiss up to the CCP or to the Crown? Like, who gets more favor by
and
your
neither.
government?
And the
Neither.
Americans.
Maybe the Americans.
Well, see, Australia's in that influent balance where it's like, oh, we're far enough away from the English, but we'll still hang out with them because tradition. But we buy everything from the Chinese, but we like the Americans because you've got a lot of guns, like military wise, and so we're sort of best friends to both. And so if there's a fight in a pub or a saloon or in the car park, we're the guy in the middle going, guys, calm down. I mean, you're both great.
Hey.
Right. Yeah, you're everybody but America is fairly globalized. They're trying to reintegrate America into globalization. I just mean, like, is there evidence of a conspiracy that you're not really kind of like the Crown's jurisdiction? Like, there's a power shift. That's what I was asking in a funny way.
No, not yet. But the Chinese are buying up a lot of stuff.
I heard used to be fat Gina Reinhardt is going to sell a shitload of territory.
Well, yeah. So who though? So there's a lot of that going on. We've also been joined by another Victorian, Harry. How are you, sir?
Howdy doody.
Oh, Christ.
How's it going?
Don't call me howdy doody. I know what that is. It's a small puppet with ginger hair. Nothing wrong with gingers. My brother's a ginger. And also, if you rearrange ginger, it turns into. Anyway, moving on.
Actually, the funny thing about that coincidence is that in as they've upgraded culture, that's what they did. See, all the characters, all the secondary characters that were gingers in comic books were all replaced by African Americans.
Nigerians, yeah. Harry, did you catch the? I'm going to go with no, because I'm not going well here because everyone's like nah. But did you watch the?
And don't forget, Peter Parker. Peter Parker is technically
$10.
Go ahead, Bruce.
$10 this fruitcake. Watched it.
Go. Harry, did you watch the interview?
Yes.
I told you.
I was actually around at my friend's place, and she had it on because she watches that. She wanted to watch it, and the thing I picked up on it was one word: assets.
That's for someone. They millionaires that it's like really you're oppressed, and someone's actually on Twitter. There's 4 photos of Princess Diana and Meghan wearing exactly the same thing, and it's like okay. And we know who wears the pants in that couple, because Harry doesn't look that happy.
Yeah, no, Harry was saying they're just treated as assets for the crown, or for the royals or whatever. But you got to. Well, that sort of makes sense because they're ets of asses. So
yes, but also that's the crown. That's their duty for the people. Blah blah blah. I mean, it's amazing what you learn in the crown, where the family we're very upset in our large mansions.
People think playing that kind of pity card can go shove it.
It gave me an insight into obviously, or it should give people an insight into, just by the way they were describing it, is that we are all considered assets and liabilities, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, the birth certificate, that makes sense. So.
Yeah. See, nobody is talking enough about the relationship that the pandemic has to the most obvious thing that much of just the entire issue that the facade has been having with itself, and why, which is the Affordable Care Act, right? There was no force in their system grid. Like the deep state gave up a lot to protect the Affordable Care Act from being augmented by the Congress, right? And then 2020 hits, right? And this is and for America, that's the big asset on that level. And this is the Affordable Care Act as part of the loosh harvest. And you see that, like this is it. This is it. You know, so I suppose I deserve 2020 for voting for Obama and then assuming that that the healthcare was going to turn out the way I imagined it was going to turn out at the time that I believed in it. Yeah, my apologies.
It's about 3 lifetimes ago. So,
I mean, just look at how that one piece of legislation with 2020 has been such a heavy effect on the course of human events. It's a timeline synchronicity. Okay, it's a fated piece of legislation.
Yep. I don't remember it. I just had another rotation of the sun and my day of my birth according to the calendar, because I was born on a full moon, so it's out by 2 weeks. And I'm trying to remember 2020. You know, all the dates are off now. Where I'm like, hang on, I'm 40. No, I'm 47. It's like 2020 is like, that really, like John Lennon, when he left Yoko for a year and a half, they referred to it as a long weekend. Well, the planet had a long weekend and was still in it.
Huh. Is that like the 7 Days War?
About you're right around that age where you should start your prostate exam every year, Monty.
Oh, because I like to have someone stick a finger up their bum. Yeah. How's life? I just looked at SJ's in the chat room. Life is good.
No, it's
not
feeling
theirs,
good.
up yours.
It's feeling good with marbles in your hand. Yeah. Marbles are blue. You say it with your tongue, holding your tongue. Yeah.
None of that what makes any sense whatsoever. I'm going to take it back to someone mentioned loosh. Loosh is a misspelling of the energy, which is 3 letters abbreviated to 3 letters. Does anyone know what that is?
No, but somehow my show turned into a game show.
Six.
That's it. No. Someone said loosh, and I saw it.
Jelly beans for 500.
I saw it the other day, and actually the where loosh comes from, the word loosh is mispronouncing that 3-lettered word, which is an old school label for that kind of ethereal energy. I was wondering if anyone knew what it was, because I couldn't remember it.
Well, thank you. You got to a point where it's like, unless you tell us, it's a genuine question.
I thought it come from a French word.
You just knew that wasn't the word. Is that what you're saying?
I knew it was for loosh, and I knew it was 3 letters, but I can't work it out what it is. But I saw it somewhere, and I thought, well, this is a term taken from
what's
Manly.
the etymology?
It's from a Manly Palmer Hall thing, but I only saw the 3 letters, and I didn't look into it too much further.
What are the odds? Is it Egyptian? What's the origin of the word?
No, most probably.
That's the most important question you have to ask when you're trying to figure out the meaning of a word. Is what is its etymology? What's its root? Right, because you're tracking a continuity of the spoken word, and that has its hidden effect in the memories of those who have heard those words, as opposed to what is written that they call in the Dark Crystal mythology the words that stay. That's what they call writing. They're called words that stay, because they don't have a written tongue amongst the Gelfling, right? Yeah. Like and the Gelfling represent pagan man, right? That's what the Gelfling were in the Crystal Storm, right? And pagan man was all oral tradition, which kept them in tight communication, kept them fully ensouled, integrated in a synthesis of communism and just like going out and making something of yourself. This kind of thing.
I just had like a flashback to what. I just had a flashback to when I was younger with my mum asking, "How do you spell this?" It was like, look it in the dictionary. I know what it means. I don't know how to spell it. Phonetic is not an F. I spent 20 minutes looking for that bloody word.
Damn you, Mum.
Yeah, and also I can't read Egyptian. What the hell does stalk mean?
It means it's that part of the dance when you walk like an Egyptian when you stand still.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, we did say it's a comedy show.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Speaking of comedy, are you familiar now that Pepe Le Pew has been cancelled?
Has he? What for?
He stinks.
Really, the the skunk that promotes rape culture, and he's French. I don't think it's the French part.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like he's an anti-hero where you laugh at him because he's completely pathetic. But someone's decided like, oh, he promotes rape culture, and Pepe never got anywhere. I think he got somewhere once.
No, he's just kind of he's a bit of a hugger.
Pepe Le Pew is a good animistic a reincarnation. When you're because you watch as a child. That's what you do when you sit at the table outside the pub when you sit next to a nice lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can kind of see Bill Clinton cosplaying as Pepe. So,
yeah.
I stink at it too.
I've definitely channeled my inner Pepe.
Not with Hillary though.
For shits and giggles.
Oh, for those on Tracebook, I shared a photo. Someone took a photo of, I think they're watching Hulu or some streaming service, and there was two documentaries. One was, and you showed two documentaries next to each other. The first one was Who Killed Jeffrey Epstein, and the next one was Hillary. Like
Were they advertised side to side?
Yeah, basically.
That's gold.
Yeah, no, it's like the prime creator writes the best jokes.
Such a trickster.
Hey, look, there's a very, very good chance that was AI on our side. Saying like, okay, human intelligence is like this. I'll do this, and nobody can blame anybody because they don't even think I'm here.
AI's been going around. I've been saying this over and over. AI's been going around since the stained glass windows, and also since they developed film and radio. That is an artificial intelligence that's overlaying an opinion or a thought, a narrative that affects people's state of mind and
you can see them. Yeah, you can see them out on the roads. They're called parking inspectors.
Hey.
I could have said ticketing inspectors, but it's that's a Melbourne localized public transport joke, so I don't know if it would have played well in
Get a real
Iowa.
job in ticket inspectors. No, it's gone. Over to you.
Well, as you're saying about the Lush, right? Oh, sorry, Bruce.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that's right, what you're saying about Lush. I have it sourced to a 1972 book called Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe.
Yeah, right. 70, though.
Yeah.
It's quite late.
Yeah.
NLP.
Well, Lush. Yeah.
How does he spell it?
Lush.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that is an interim spelling from how I've seen it, most recently.
So,
but I'm pretty sure it was LU something. These three letters.
Well, LUSH we pronounce normally as lush.
Yeah.
Which lush is a lush is someone who's inebriated, a drunk.
Yeah, well, Lush actually sounds like a drunk Scotsman trying to read William Shakespeare. Let loose the dogs of war.
Lush.
Lush can also be favorably benevolent.
Well, yeah. Bloody Collingwood tainting Lush since 2015.
It's also a close pronunciation to one of the primary Celtic gods. Goes by that name. It's in layman's tongue when you're not trying to pronounce things Gaelically, it's Lu, but it's basically lush. It's like it's got this weird. Gaelic is an incredibly weird dialect. There's like I don't know if there's anything else like it. It's meant to be a very wispy way of speaking. Lish, lish, lish.
It sounds a bit French. And I love Welsh. Like in the Crown, there's a Welsh episode, and I'm like, I want to learn Welsh just to upset everybody because it's like a native Klingon.
Does it sound as crazy as it looks?
Oh, the spelling of it, where 28 letters in a nameplate. It's like if you're on a railway station, the nameplate takes up the whole platform.
I went over a bridge in the UK. Went over, you start looking at the signs telling you where to go, and they're all the same letters, but they don't make any sense.
One of my guys in my chat room here says it reminds him of Lelouch of the Rebellion. Lelouch of the Rebellion. I don't know what the Rebellion is, but he says there's a Lelouch of the Rebellion.
Well,
Star Wars?
The latest Rebellion is the Gina Carano and fighting against Disney. Bruce, I think you wanted to edge in here.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say, man. It's hard to get, it's hard to merge in this traffic.
Well, yeah, it's someone standing on the string between the two cans. But there you go.
It's rope skipping. You just gotta double touch it in.
Bruce, how's your Cocos and Cabanas going down there?
I don't know what you mean.
How's your orchard?
He's an ignorant man who doesn't know that you deal in Abaca.
Well, I only found out a couple of months ago that they're called bananas, not yellow tree dicks. My bad.
What?
Really?
What?
Yeah, no, that's
Australia for you.
Plantains.
Anyway, sorry, Bruce, I stepped on you. I just wanted to get the yellow tree dick out of the way, as you do. Bruce, continue on with your report of the Abaca.
Oh, everything is really good here, Harry.
Yeah.
Psychologically, physically, food, water, companionship, purpose, meaning. By every measure, you could create any kind of contentment survey. It would be top marks here. This is the best place I've ever lived.
It sounds
Absolutely.
like you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Well, also, he doesn't really use a generator because Bruce is glowing now because he's just
Right,
I actually have heard Bruce say it a couple of times. He feels bad coming on to like, how's your life? Basically perfect. I'm sorry that you're in deep shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand. You don't want to sort of like, oh, you've had a car crash and lost a leg. I just sold another 3,000. Like,
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Good
so
for you. Don't get me. We are impressed that you are an example, sir. You hit the ground running, and even with your Russian gangster tracksuit.
Oh, I love that tracksuit, man. But yeah, no, I got a few things going on now, Harry. I stay connected to my primary trade, which is technical writing. I'm doing it in the form of grant writing now. It's only about maybe 40 hours a month. No big deal, but it's good money. Yeah. I'm on my third book. Those are still selling decent on Amazon, and the Abaca is the big thing now. So I want to get another 40 hectares of Abaca in. So every hectare of Abaca is about $5,000 US of product per year, 2 harvests. Okay, so 2,500, yeah, and you lose about half of it to maintenance and labor and machinery and repairs and stuff, but the rest is just pure profit, right? Yeah. So do the math. If I have 50 hectares and it's $5,000 a hectare and I keep half of it, that's 125 grand for letting the sun come up every day. I think I will put, you know what I've done? I've put the sun on my papal work schedule is what I've done.
Yeah. I live in a unit which has 3 feet by 6 feet worth of garden, and I can't be asked weeding it. So maybe I need to borrow one of those Nicaragans that you talk about.
You need to borrow some tool and some energy, some self perseverance.
Or weed kill.
Go
ahead, Bruce.
say the Nicaraguans are an extraordinary people. They make an art form out of land-based work. They get it to a point just like a master mason laying a real mason, actually laying a block layer who's been in the union for 30 years. If you ever get a chance, you just walk and by a construction site one day, and some dude's laying block. Just watch them for 90 seconds. Like, it's unbelievable, the dexterity. And if you've ever tried it yourself, you know, it's not as easy as it looks to get all the cement with the trowel and one swift, like, kung fu movement and everything.
Some people
These guys
do it
are
like chefs.
Yeah. These guys are like that with machetes.
Have you seen those the videos of bricklayers? They're putting tiles on top of a brick fence, and they've put down the mortar all along, and they stick them all up like dominoes, and they just tap them, and they all fall not into place, but they just have to be nudged. And it's like, that is so awesome and so quick.
Mm.
It's amazing what the human mind can come up with.
Love those
What I want to. When Cortek's done, are you done, Cortek?
Sorry, Bruce. Sorry.
Cats. They just watch their cats knock shit over, and they said, like, "Oh, you know what? You know, cats."
We could do this on the building site.
Yeah. All right, Bruce. Yeah. Bruce can have a go ahead, Bruce.
So I believe that a better life is waiting for everyone who just makes a correct sequence of decisions right now. That will take a little bit of courage. And the better life is there because I think that something is happening now, and it's very positive. When you get away from the news and you get away from all the nonsense, if you can find a decent business that connects with people, and it's a real business, you're not selling a concept like life insurance or anything like that. A tangible product of any form, you start making handbags, whatever you do. If it's sincere, well thought out, needed, and timely, and inspired, because there's a lot of inspiration right now. If you can get through the fear and pull off the news addiction, there's a lot of inspiration in the world right now. So it's the best of times and the worst of times. It's whatever you make of it. It's about the decisions you make. But if you're hanging around in cities waiting for everything to get better, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Correct.
And the new economy is going to be formed by people who got there first. It's not going to be competitive, but it's going to be natural. And the natural economy doesn't support things that can't support it themselves. Believe me, I live in a jungle.
Yeah,
I know a thing or two about ecosystems.
I like the juxtaposition that you have, that you work on technical writing and you live in a shack in a jungle. That would freak people out. So can I pop over? No, not really. I actually looked up. I looked the flight times for me to get from Melbourne to Costa Rica, and it's either 36 hours or 56 hours. So I'm going to love flying.
56 hours by China, though. You get a bed for another day and a half.
I've created a little jungle in my backyard.
The other side of you should get like 2 layovers or something and grab some cat naps in the airport.
Yes, yeah, I think there was like 6 hours at LAX or something like that. And I can see America. I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
I don't want the TSA to fondle me. And if I go to China, I'll get a swab right up there. And no, thank you.
Was that legit?
Yeah.
Were they doing anal swabs?
Yeah, all foreigners get an anal swab.
I saw the video of people walking out like with the wide horse stance kind of walk, but I thought it might have been just like a parody. Obviously
No. See, that's the fun part of what's going on as well, which Bruce can attest to. It's very hard to find satire and parody nowadays because it's like
it's all being done for you. Anti-tourism.
So the Japanese have developed swabs the size of samurai swords then?
No, they're probably like nanobots and they do it effectively because you know what the Japanese are like.
You know, it's an open roundtable, Harry, but it's not the Special Olympics. You put a little effort in, will you?
And the Special Olympics is after the normal Olympics, which Olympics 2020, they're having it this year. So that's going to throw out all the all the stuff. Is anyone going to watch the opening ceremony? Probably not.
Wait. They're doing the Special Olympics but not having the real one?
Yeah, they are. They were supposed to have it last year. They were supposed to have it last year, but they've just pushed it back 12 months. So Olympics 2020 is going to be held in 2021.
Still in Japan?
That's a bit retarded, isn't it?
They build all the stuff, so yeah. Well, this is why Harry's not popular on the woke message boards. You can't say the R word.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That was just my general comment to the PC babies. Don't cry about anything.
There you go. Harry, the last time I spoke to you in depth, you were talking about some gated community, some sustainable community you were working on and developing. What became of that?
Well, COVID-19 stuff put everything on hold, so we couldn't have any meetings. But it's gone down to a skeleton management of the wardens and the minister. We're actually going to have our first parish council meeting this Saturday to discuss the way forward. So I'll probably find out then. I have talked to Ryan about it, the minister, and he says, look, everything's sort of been put on hold. They've got a evaluator.
All right. Well, thanks for answering the question, Harry. We get it.
But at the same time, there I found out last week, and I've made contact this week. There's a Whittlesea community farm, and what's happening there is there's a bunch of investment as you're saying, all this opportunities right here now. Agriculture development, called peri-urban development, they call it, where they've taken a wastewater treatment plant and filtrating it into creating an orchard and everything else, a big community farm. So I spoke to the coordinator and a public interest and expressed my interest in being on the panel as well. So, yeah, and so that's going forward as well. So I'll be seeing how that develops in the next few weeks.
One interesting thing about Whittlesea is it's nowhere near water. So
yeah, we've got plenty of river coming through.
It's not really a sea, is it? It's like, no. Yeah. I mean, there's actually a suburb in Melbourne called Bayswater that also is nowhere near the coastline. So it's those wonderful British colonials coming out. Oh, Whittlesea, that's where I was from. So we're 300 kilometres from the water. Yeah, that works out.
Just do it, Harold.
Go out. Apparently in the UK, they've opened their first Amazon store where you don't have to pay. And I'm like, I'm sure you do at some point. But how do what are the Karens going to do? Like, I want to speak to your manager. Or do you have the app? It's not going to. Mind you, there is a McDonald's in Phoenix, which is totally automated, and I think they've got a T1000 as their manager,
as the complaints department.
Yeah, what is your problem? That's a T1800, but still, there you go. I've got
coffee.
Oh yes, because of America, the land of suing everyone. They actually have to put tops on top and tell people that coffee's hot because someone spilt coffee on their lap and burnt themselves. Good for you. Billy Collins got a lovely joke about story that he was using a hairdryer to dry his hair. I know all the information's in the title, and he saw a tag on it. It's like, oh, look at this. Obviously, it's return to desk after use, and it said do not use in shower, which brings up the question: how did that happen? Someone obviously used it in the shower.
Yeah,
and then sued for it. I get it.
Yeah, I've got hair. I get that joke. I get that reference.
I mean, it was I was listening with my full concentration, and when it ended, I went, "Yeah, I get that."
So you need the lulls so the comedy stands out more.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Bruce, about talking about
doing there. Huh? So you know those two electrical pads you rub together to recharge someone's heart.
Defibrillators.
That's what I got to. Yeah, that's what I got to do to the jokes on this round table. I got to get a little bump joke at the back end because they're
Bruce,
so flat.
You need to plug it in first.
They call it a defibrillator because it's meant to call you on your bullshit.
Who wants to get in the tub and try this defibrillator?
Sure,
I will.
Plug it in and chuck it to me.
I'm piezoelectric. I'll do it.
Works out well. Now I've got one. I've got 3 items on my list, and I'll bring up the final one after the break, which is coming up very soon. And it involves tax, so we're going to bore the crap out of everybody.
Oh, that sounds hilarious.
Well, yeah, we'll make it funny because it's like, really? And so, yeah, well, what
Do it
the-
now.
well, basically, I'll set the scene. So, yeah, actually, I'll tell people before the break. So you have 3 minutes of, really? YouTube is going to tax. That wasn't me. And too bad I can't climb down the line. How dare you, sir? YouTube is going to tax non-US citizens of their earnings from YouTube. So basically, if I get monetized, which I'm thinking not now, I'm going to go probably to Odyssey.
We get it. It's sunk in already.
Bam. Yeah. So
yeah,
basically,
that's a punch in the face, man.
Yeah.
So
cool.
why do they get the right to do that? I don't understand.
It's the U.S. government, I would say, because they're now they can get 25% tax from the earnings from your American audience. So if 50% of my audience is American, and I have to pay 25% on that. So I tried to do the numbers and then I forgot.
They're finding every way they can to compensate for the loss of revenue, for the purges over 4 years of all of their big money makers. Plus, they're a little worried about a couple of lawsuits.
Go ahead, Bruce.
So, okay, so I went through all of this with Amazon when I started publishing there. When I originally signed up, they were going to keep like 37% for taxes. And then I called the support department and they said, where are you going to have your money deposited? I said, in a Canadian bank account. And they said, okay, well, you're tax exempt. And I assure you, it's the same thing with YouTube. And these companies, and it took like 3 phone calls to Amazon to get to the bottom of this. And I was quoting the IRS and their tax code. And and they finally relented. And it's the same thing with YouTube. I absolutely promise you, but it's just shameless, when the U.S.
You'd have to do it by person basis. I'm sure the fact that you were quoting law made them feel like they knew less than you did on the situation.
And there is a tax exemption for different countries, and so basically all these lower level content creators on YouTube have to start learning to be an accountant just to figure out taxes, and you have to fill out tax forms and all this type of stuff. And it's
about moving to 2021 is alt tech year, so it's about moving to things that where you control your own content, where you're not using things that are relying on alternate servers that are controlled by other people that can be just shut down. And that's what we learned in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, when there was like YouTube did a big, and Facebook did that big censorship purge a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, because time just drifts for me. Anyway, I noticed a lot of people going, go to a website and sign up to my mailing list. So we've gone back to mailing lists. Have you noticed? Yeah, it's just really weird how technology moves forward, and then, but we can control all this high-end stuff. So we'll go back to the old style where I'll just send you an email from my own website.
Well, yeah, we go back to things that we know are secure anyway,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
2019, 2020 was a year of YouTube, with slowly increasing the strength of the punches that they were doing to people, whether it was deleting their content or anything like that. They've shown themselves to be a platform that can't be trusted, and we should not have this short-term memory where we forget these things.
Yeah, and that's what they want. I did know. Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
So yeah, I mean, no, that's fine, Steve. You go.
I was going to say legal pressure. All these companies are under legal pressure.
Bruce, we've got about a minute.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, you'll have the break to remember. Or I'll think of something else.
Yes, I will.
So the hello May Street 139. I hope that's not your actual address, because that's not how you get anonymity on the internet, by posting your actual address.
They put it the other way around, though.
Well, obviously, one of the techies in the alphabet agencies have to think about it, clearly. You are listening to Revolution Radio. This is Planet Collingwood. It's a comedy show. We'll be back after these short messages. I'm going to the toilet, feed my cat, and get a drink. I'm not going to mix them up again. Oh, jeez, the disaster last week. Anyway, we'll be back very soon. Dum 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 dum. I like watching porn. Sorry, just getting into the bass groove there. This is Planet Collingwood Open Round Table. My name is Monty Dean. I've just ruined your day for listening to Doors music, because that's what it sounds like to me. I need help, clearly. If you enjoyed the last hour of Planet Collingwood, please go to the website freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can so we can continue being silly. It works out well. My parole officer has cut back my dosage, so I think it's working out well for everybody. Then pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted people. I see SJ and May Street and a Zippy. There's a lot of Zippies. So many Zippies. Anyway, I have been joined by... My accents are fighting. I've been joined by Aust, Paul, Bruce, Mcdonald, Cortek, Harry, Steve Zerilath, and Minty Dine. Anyway, so there we go. So let's hit the ground running. And I had a cricket analogy, but I think 3 people may get it, and I'm one of them.
Go on, do it anyway.
We're opening a session with the slow bowlers, so we're going to get in tight and get the run rate down, and I think we'll win this test match if that goes for 5 days.
Only if a bit of spin comes to it.
Yeah, exactly. Because every American, what you mean that boring version of baseball, which is ironic because baseball's boring already.
Not if you're drunk.
The wisdom of Homer Simpson. Remember when the Simpsons was good? It's at least been a decade.
First 10
and
years.
A half.
First 10 years.
Oh yeah. Simpsons in the 90s. But now, not so much.
So yes, so much ground.
Oh yeah. They used SJW in the latest episodes, and I was in shock. I was like, it's still going, and it used to be a comedy, but now it's just left-leaning political crap. Because like we're making fun of Donald Trump, like so's everyone else, and they're doing it better. Stop it.
What's with the half a dozen or so times that they've seemed to have predicted the future? What's with that?
Oh, well, they keep rewriting the same stories. And last count, there was 400 episodes. So basically, I think that's the prime creator pointing out from once we leave the planet and humanity's free and the planet's liberated, we'll go into the galaxy and use the Simpsons to describe any part of creation. So you see what's happening here with blah, 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 blah. It's just like the episode when Bart went.
I'll just show you this 30-second clip.
Exactly. Why are they yellow? Shh, don't. Yeah. Okay, my brain just went to why are the Asians being picked on in the United States now? But I don't know. Is there a color chart now? It's like, the blacks, no. The whites, no. Oh, let's pick on the Asians because maybe not.
Guys,
that classic divide and conquer.
Yeah, there's not enough of them to pick on.
It's okay to be yellow.
It's okay to be yellow. See, that's a T-shirt, especially where I live. Well, yeah. I did like the episode where it's like, imagine if they
chill around that area.
Yeah, Springvale and everything else like that. I did like the episode of The Simpsons when they actually drew the family like what we look like with 5 fingers and pale pink skin. It made Homer shudder.
But they did it in a way that made it look really weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just really weird because once again that show's still going. I mean, dare I say it? This may be controversial, ladies and gentlemen. I don't find Saturday Night Live funny ever. It's been going for 40 years, but they're not basing their career on me.
Is it the format, maybe?
Oh, come on, SNL's fine. They take the piss out of everybody.
Well,
even themselves.
Well, is that the joke that they're that bad and they're still on air? That's the gag.
Early 90s, I think, was the last time SNL was funny to me.
Actually, I should clarify. Chevy Chase and David Spade doing the Weekend Update and Dennis Miller. Okay, the Weekend Update is awesome. when it's done right. But the
Right,
rest of the hour, including the ad breaks,
dude, don't forget Norm Mcdonald doing it.
well, I did, and I should be punished because Norm Mcdonald's awesome. Okay,
Norm Mcdonald, it's awesome.
I'm going to tell you my Norm Mcdonald. This is, the brain's just gone. This is your Norm Mcdonald 2 jokes, and because he was doing a weekend update, obviously for more than 12 months, and so one year I'm just going to pick a number, 1995. There's been a survey in America to find the worst job in the United States, and it's crack hall. And it gets a laugh, yeah. And then 12 months later, the same census has been done from 12 months ago, and the worst job in America last year it was crack hall. This year, assistant crack hall.
I caught on Telegram a clip. Jim Brewer did a really good little bit in an interview making fun of people who wear masks and people that do nothing but tell people to wear masks all day. He did like a parrot impression. It was really funny, and it was anti-mask comedy. So Jim Brewer's on our team.
A brave man as well, because he actually goes in front of a Metallica audience, which is 40,000-50,000 people, and tries to do and does stand-up comedy.
Dude, what the hell can they really say to Jim Brewer, right? And Jim Brewer lives in this really kind of cool train wreckish situation. I mean, he's a dad now and all that, but he's one of our heavy metal comics. Mm-hmm. And so as long as he hasn't made fun of John Schaefer, I'm okay.
Okay. Bruce, do you remember what you were going to say?
No, I'm all out, Monty.
And if you send money now to Revolution Radio, we'll be buying Bruce a pen and a pad.
I'm all out.
Mind you, it is the end of the day for you, and you'll be going to sleep soon. So
I could reprime the conversation like a crack whore assistant.
Go on.
Excuse me. No, it's assistant crack hall. Got to get this right.
All right. Yeah. I'd say this bit needs a fluffer. Bruce, you're up.
Me and my imagination. Bruce, go ahead.
Well, what's there to talk about, man? All the opportunity. It's just a field of opportunity now. Just go out and seize it. It's all there. Aussie Paul will be a millionaire by Friday.
With a fleet of taxis.
That was the punchline.
But I don't know. So, using Uber is not the right word because that's German, and the Germans are. Well, hang on. Yeah. Sorry, Bruce. Go ahead.
Monty, I think you should become like some kind of organic free range chicken king. Easiest thing in the world, man. You open the door in the morning, they go out, they peck, they kill some insects, they go back in and they sleep. Takes 7 weeks.
I've got the perfect name for it. Monty's Cockland.
You can sell it for about $2 a pound in the groceries, but actually that's wholesale. If you're selling wholesale, if you go retail, you can sell it for about $3, $4 a pound.
Well, yeah, there have to be changes because if I started here in a 2-bedroom unit, the landlord may get upset.
No, but
my cat will freak out.
Here's what nobody's getting. Okay, as this collapse begins to settle in, and it's settling in like a fat person about to sit down in a dilapidated old armchair, and it's just settling in now, right?
Ocean Inception music.
Yeah, just see that crack descending down and the sun disappearing, and it's settling in now. This crack, and people are starting to get it. There's nobody might call the cops, nobody comes. Right? I mean, New York, LA. I'd be amazed if the cops show up for any kind of normal call now. It's like state of emergency, right? Levels of homelessness and everything that's going on. But at the same time, all of the things that have inhibited you from just going out and doing things because you don't want to deal with the bullshit like paperwork, like any kind of alternative construction now, you're not going to have to worry about any building inspectors, nothing. Nobody's minding the store. I'm telling you, man. It's like everybody pulling a government check now was like a walk-in, metaphorically. I don't mean literally. And nobody's minding the store because everybody knows it's over. Everybody knows. And so they don't know what to do. Like they just don't. America doesn't have any experience with this. It's never self-collapsed. It's fought itself. It fought for its independence, but it's never just sort of fallen over like a drunk at a party. You know, that's never happened in America. It's about to. Right.
Enough here in Australia, which I'm hoping I add to it, is I think 4 or 5 politicians are all on sick leave. The latest one that I'm aware of is our Premier, Das Führer, Dan Andrews. Apparently he slipped over and cracked some ribs. And it's like, okay, is that karma? Because
I will learn him.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he can't walk on flat ground with a little bit of water yet, pansy. Greg Hunt apparently is out. And there is like 4 or 5 politicians across, and people are mentioning the vaccine. Don't know if there is any link to the vaccine, but it just seems to be, I wouldn't want to be a politician at the moment because everyone, the karma's kicking him in the butt. For just, you know when you have those spiritual moments of like, I'm enlightened, and of course you think that and you're not, which is a fun part of living here. But and you're walking through and my poo doesn't stink and I can do everything, and then your little pinky toe on your left foot just decides to nosedive straight into the coffee table leg, and that's fun when reality goes hello. Go ahead, Bruce.
So this is another aspect of what we're going through as well, is that it's not only that if you go out and you do something and it's constructive and it's productive, especially if it's leading into the kind of economy that is going to be coming, which is going to be largely unregulated. You live by your word. So if you say you can fix a car, but you don't have a license, but you can really fix a car. You do it well. You do it proper. All your customers are happy. You can do very, very well. You're not going to need an auto mechanic's license. So the situation we're going into, folks, we're actually, guys, we're going into the be careful what you wished for situation. Because if you go back and you listen to this radio station from 10 years ago, this is what we've all been asking for. And how many people are really prepared to seize the moment?
Yeah, I was watching another show. It was about adapting your business to these weird times, and they put forward that subconsciously this is what the human race kind of wanted, to be at home and rest. And I thought, oh yeah, maybe that's true. Wait a minute, I've been living like this for 5 years. Freaking not me, because everything sucks. But we do. Okay, I'm not playing Wheel of Fortune, whoever that is. Candy Crush, yay! But humanity is at that point by, like, you could see it last year how the term waking up, which is basically the corruption in the system, and the people, it's one way of getting out of it is find your passion. So my thought just ran out, but that's basically it. There, just be awesome to each other. But there is opportunity if you get rid of the old ways, like as the language that Viking uses, is the old ways are disintegrating or disappearing, and now it's an opportunity to actually find something that you love doing. And Babylon Bee shared a great article where now, Steve, is this true? There's a restaurant in the United States called On the Border. It's a Mexican restaurant.
Sure, why not? It's a big country.
Yeah, say yes. But yeah, that's where apparently that's where the president went to find out what all the immigration problem is, and so because he's an idiot. So there are ways coming, and also the what I've noticed with me, like the blocks are disappearing, or they're very small, instead of like the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like, I can't do this because this is going to happen, and then 7 seconds later, fooled you. It's obviously it's different for you, Bruce, because you made this choice years ago, and it's all falling into place. But there is the supposed blocks that we think we have are very paper thin or non-existent, because if you don't have to become Elon Musk, but you could actually if you go into knitting, you'll be surprised how your business will grow in 3 months.
Yeah Whatever you do now, it's if it's centered properly and you've caught the energy of what's going on here, and you get the fundamental realization, which is simply that let's say the universe's carburetor has been cleaned out. Your motorcycle isn't going to stutter anymore when it's going up a hill, right? So, and in the co-creative process, what that means is what you plan is going to come about much more easily. You may have a few things to learn in the journey, but the circumstances and synchronicities that give you the lesson very quickly will be there and available. This is how the world has always been supposed to be working. Okay? This is life on this planet was supposed to be magical. When people, those of us who get through this and document it and pass it forward to future generations, when humanity fully understands what's been going on down here, it's just absolutely epic. It's mind-boggling, and that it could even be allowed to go on. It's like chalk it up to the fullest expression of a free will universe, both negative and positive. And something's been done for us, and this is a lot bigger than an astrological symbol. 2,000 years. This is huge. It's bigger than a galactic turning. It's bigger than the 26,000 years our solar system goes around the central sun and the Milky Way. It's bigger than those two cycles. This is huge, what's going on. Absolutely huge. What am I doing? This is a comedy round. Sorry, I'm not very funny. Yeah,
no, that's
not very
all right.
funny tonight.
No, that's fine. You're making sense, which that's all part of the concept
listen,
of doing comedy is to hide the information in the jokes.
You're supposed to have a punchline that has something to do with your balls. There you go.
Cortek
I just saved your segment.
Cortek shaves his balls.
You don't understand. My balls. They're huge.
That's a thing down under.
Well, a couple of things down under, and I can imagine. I don't know if you play golf, but you have the space for it, so you should actually create a golf course and not mow anything. Just make it like a par 117, because watch out for the snakes. There's my angry dog. There's the boars. Yes, and that's the wrong grass.
I don't know about a golf course, but a driving range would be pretty easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure I might hit a few roofs or something, but I don't think it would be the end of the world.
No, or just have a tee off into the jungle and freak out people in 100 years. It's like, see, our ancestors loved these small glowing orbs, and they placed them in the jungle. There's hundreds of them all around this tree.
Can you imagine if the human race gets on the idiocracy timeline and they find that in 2,000 years, the mystery of the spherical Titleist balls found in Costa Rica?
What bird laid these eggs? And they're petrified. Yeah. They still got bounce in them.
What kind of machine could have made this?
And why are they dented? Is it like the anus got pups? Anyway, go ahead, Steve.
We don't know, but we'll be sure that the Smithsonian will tell you all about it.
Oh, geez, he's one of those religious nuts. He's a baller. I do like golf. It's a really good way of interrupting a good walk.
Yeah, it's about. I never took to it either. I mean, I played a lot of golf growing up, but I never took to it. My brother loves it. Everybody in my family loves it. I wouldn't go for free. If you were taking me to the best course ever, I'd say, nah, stay home, watch a movie.
I'll play it on the PlayStation.
I like a creative mini golf course. I like mini golf because, that's kind of neat with the tiny houses and things.
And you can get snacks and do normal stuff.
Yeah, and you don't leave the warehouse either. So you don't need a cart to walk around. Speaking of mini golf, I rewatched Battlefield Earth yesterday.
John Travolta.
Yes, actually, it's a L. Ron Hubbard movie starring John Travolta. Came out in 2000.
Mm-hmm. I saw it. Scientology is another kind of ET religion, or reaching out with that galactic scope. There's a bit of a galactic history there. They even have that in the Book of Mormon. right? There's a lot of sort of galactic references in the Book of Mormon. Yeah, that's very interesting, Monty. Sorry, I stepped on your. Did you have a joke?
Well, most people hated it, but I still watch it. I watch it more than The Last Jedi. So there you go. It's not funny. It's more truth.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting in Hubbard's material that, you know, you can tell these beings that aren't supposed to be here, one of their chief characteristics is complicity by leverage rather than compassionate, reasoned, middle ground understanding, right?
Yep.
Everything is leverage. That's, you know, and, you know, you can laugh at Scientology and everything, but Hubbard was a very smart guy, man. You know, he brought a lot of interesting things to the consciousness game. You know, little electrical charges in your thumb and index finger and, you know, a lot of stuff. And his work, a lot was mostly suppressed. I don't think Scientology represents what he really was into. But Hubbard was really getting into a lot of the time track stuff, a lot of the causal stuff. He was like, his consciousness was beyond the astral. Astral is the bump in the night stuff. It's all the gooey, ectoplasmic, nonsensical stuff, right? The fourth dimensional stuff. And there's a whole fourth dimension that's real. And there's things living there, and there's cities and societies and everything. And then above that,
watch any paranormal show, you'll get a decent sense of those metaphysics.
It just made Ghostbusters awesome.
Yeah, most of our popular culture is fourth dimensional. All Marvel comics is astral. It's all fourth dimensional, right? It's what you can do in your astral body. It's like imagination brought to life. That's what CGI is. And I don't know, what was I talking about again before that? What was my point?
Golf, Ron Hubbard.
No.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh yeah.
Battle.
Hubbard. No, it was L. Ron Hubbard, and he had figured out a lot of what was going on this planet, the DNA farming and everything. And I don't think he wanted to play ball. You know, if you read about the last part of his life, he basically lived his life on the run and mainly at sea. And they were tracking him all the time and trying to find him. And he had all these yachts, and he would just keep hopping from yacht to yacht, change yacht every week when they were catching up with him based on radio communication or whatever they had back then. But there's a lot more to Hubbard than people know. And his name has been particularly besmirched, and Scientology has been particularly ridiculed because he brought some pretty potent and confrontational material to the table that the controllers weren't ready for the human race to know. So Hubbard was really ahead of the curve by about 40 or 50 years, right? Now, what this thing that Kirstie Alley, John Travolta, and Tom Cruise are into, it's a grotesque mutation. Don't go near it. Don't go near it.
Well, I thought that the Scientology, like, you know, center or whatever their head thing is, I thought they had tight control over the continuity of their Ponzi scheme that happens to have metaphysical truth in it.
Basically, yeah. If you look at the Walt Disney and what Disney's now, it's sort of what Bruce is saying with what Hubbard was then and what it is now. Because there's a documentary series, I think, still on the BBC called Panorama. And they tried to do a documentary into Scientology, and they were basically run out of town because they're so fearful of being exposed. And it does come across as just it's all about money. And there's an element of you're a sinner because you've got these thetas in you and all this type of stuff. Check out the South Park episode; it explains it perfectly. Wow. And they actually have that's today's Scientology. Today's episode, today's Scientology, not the original form of it. They actually had, while explaining the actual history of Scientology of today, they have a subtitle. This is what they actually think all the way through it.
They do the same thing with the Mormons. We were talking about the Mormons earlier, so they tap into that one too.
Yeah.
So the big trick in all these pseudo spiritual paths is they have truth in them, and that's why they trip you up, you know. And that's why, I mean, you know, if you ever look into any of these religions, and I've looked into most of them, They do have truth in them. But the big trick is to mix details and context. So if you have the right details but the wrong context, you don't know what the truth is. If you have the right context but you don't have the details, you don't know what the truth is. And what a lot of these religions do is they operate on certain variable combinations of those two quotients, context and detail. And they create these highly confusing mind control systems that people can get locked into for generations. And the Catholics are masters at it. That whatever happened in Byzantium when they dreamed up what we call the modern church and everything, and that's when the split happened and the Eastern Orthodox went their way, and the Roman Catholic system started. I mean, that was the equivalent of the deep state back then. Realize that, right? And these people are super smart. Just because they were riding around in horse and carriage doesn't mean that their consciousness was already outside of the galaxy. So, anyways, all this stuff's coming to an end. Just start a business. Chickens, Monty. Chickens.
You can call me Lord of the Chickens.
Yeah. I would
no
do
one
chickens
in, yeah, there's no one in here except us chickens. Speaking of Looney Tunes. Some of those stuff. I should buy some on Blu-ray or DVD before it all gets cancelled because entertainment is going insane. Like Disney's actually hurting themselves, where the Muppets have a warning about it being racist or inappropriate. They're cancelling Pepe Le Pew. And it's just getting so out of hand. And one thing I've noticed as well, a lot of people they're realizing, I think Tim Pool has explained on his show that the left-right paradigm is completely false, where it's just divide and conquer and you're a left. I mean, there are so many. There's the far left who are insane. Then there's other people that are nice, and they get lumped in, and there's all this schism and. It's just easier, like that old thinking of duality. You always need an enemy, and it's all falling away because we're all unique.
So what I think is going on is a lot of things can evolve in a complex man-made system like the modern economy we've been living in since about 1970. And because it's so separated from nature, there's a lot of identification transitions, sexuality being one, and gender. And, that wave is cresting now in the early 21st century. And part of the reset we're going through now is that as these systems fail and we go back to more natural living, a lot of these alternative lifestyles are just going to disappear because they don't make sense outside of the urban context. And once you get back into the natural rhythm and everything just, not that there isn't homosexuality, like I said, I mean, these guys I live with on this mountain, they go on a 7-day bender. They'll stiff a goat. I shit you not. And
that's
real,
all it takes. 7 days.
Yeah, 7-day bender in Costa Rica with cocaine.
I've seen people walk in the streets. Like my neighbors, so liquored up, like on day 4 of a 7-day bender, it's just like they're not even in the world. They're just kind of dancing down the street. And they're just completely out of their minds in a good way, I guess. But yeah, but so the age that's coming is make it or break it, and you got to have a little bit of spiritual maturity, because if you're sentimental, you're gonna become a drowned lifeguard. You're gonna reach out to the wrong person, and they're gonna drag you down. Because people, to survive what's coming, people are gonna have to change and face real truths about themselves. Because this house of mirrors that we've been living in, the modern urban megacity, is going away, and the spells are all falling apart now. All we got to do is go back to the inauguration spell with Lady Gaga. I mean, that was a net energy loss rather than a gain. So that goes in the liability column of the whatever bank sponsored that ritual, and that's what you're going to see from now on. Is none of their shit is going to work. It's going to be like a Abbott and Costello skit. People are just going to look at it and go, "Why did I ever even buy that shit?"
Yeah, right. Interesting turn of events from the Oprah Harry, whatever her name is. I'm intentionally forgetting her name because I have no idea. She just
Meghan Markle.
Okay. And it's gone. It's amazing how my brain works. Piers Morgan has walked off the set because he's a host of Good Morning Britain. And he basically said, I don't believe her. And ITV, which is the network that show's on, got 41,000 complaints. And so he's been cancelled or he's left. And so not sure what you think about Piers, but still it sounds like a win.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, he's an interesting character, but this cancel culture is going to go away too. They're all going to be, all the cancel culture people are going to be sitting in a room. It's like, it's a deformity of thinking. And what happened in the modern system is we created economies for this. And that was a huge mistake. And it was probably a huge mistake to liberalize our definition of family so much. Now, keep in mind, I'm not being homophobic here. Homosexuality occurs in nature. Anybody who tells you it's a sin and those people should be stoned or killed is crazy. All right? But that's not what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with like highly calculated, highly deliberately contrived states of mind. Now, what people never considered is that these people would, their percentage of the general society would get larger and larger to the point that they formed a very powerful lobby. And these lifestyle choices, like the lesbian or gay lifestyle, produces these people, they're always smiling when they're on TV and everything. These are very angry people. When you know them in real life and you see the real them, they're very angry, most of these people. Very, very angry. They can't live with themselves, right? And they're forming all this cancel culture. This is the psychic win in this system. They're the ones giving it all the energy. Sorry, Monty, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add they've actually gone to the next step, which is strangely enough turned the homosexual community into a victim and hated as well because they're getting into transgender. And the only thing I would say about transgenderism is like, wait till you're 25 and you understand what it actually is. Getting a 3-year-old on puberty blockers is abuse. And so we're actually going through that where, have you seen that 50-year-old transgender woman playing basketball in college where it is towering over all the other women? Like that, the women's sport's taking a hit because all these biological men are coming in and winning because they have a different structure. Now, I'll just make one more small point and then Steve step in. The next step is to add, so they've got LGBT. I'm ignoring everything else because it's just silly, but you can see the slight push to put P, which is pedophilia. In Tasmania, a editor has asked their journalists not to call pedophiles because it's degrading or something. They're trying to push in that child aspect of it, and that could be their downfall. Not everyone, but you could. The game they're playing is going to really, kids, stop that. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say I live in Connecticut, and Connecticut made a lot of news. This state happened to be one of the states that, did a lot of the transsexual integration into women's sports leagues, and so it's been very irritating, and upsetting for the athletic women over here, and there's definitely a lot of athletic pride in what goes down with the high schools in our culture, especially in the more affluent towns in this very wealthy state. And also, I was going to say you can look up, because what Bruce was talking about is that there are people that are naturally homosexual, and it's been around for so long. You get anybody that's still connected to tribal lineage that's untouched by the Abrahamics, and all of them have a way of shaping their society that has a place for the homosexuals in their community, where there's nothing wrong, nobody feels socially ostracized or whatever, but just to keep the flow amongst the heterosexual dynamics in a tribe, they just have to shift a few things to accommodate the ones that the creator made that were attracted to their own gender. And that's what they do. Move on with their life. And that's what America is trying to do.
But in tribal communities, that tolerance doesn't turn into a takeover 3 generations later. Bolshevik takeover.
Yeah, it's been politicized, and the other thing is the way that transgenderism has been weaponized now, where apparently you're transphobic if you won't sleep with a woman with a penis. Because your scientific mind's going, well, if they've got a penis.
The shaman of the tribe doesn't hold a who's the best guy in the tribe pageant and then puts a crown on the gay guy for being born gay. Then the tribe in 3 generations would get overrun and then breed itself out.
Basically, yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, the latest thing in this stupid war is there's a new sexuality out there, ladies and gentlemen, and it's called super straight, which means men would only sleep with women, like biological cis, all these labels and everything else. Like,
what is regular straight? What is regular straight? Because I'd like to sign up for super straight. That sounds fun.
Well, do you like having sex with a man, Steve? Biological man.
That I believe is called bisexual or gay. Well, I'm talking about straight. Straight.
Yeah, but if the person that is propositioned you believes they're a woman, this is the level of stupidity. And Bruce, yes, to answer your question, they have come up with super straight.
Okay, so this is for when a man who identifies as a woman insists on having sex.
Basically,
with
I had it 90
men. Is that what this is?
I had it.
Is that what super straight is about? Me saying that I don't want to sleep with a tranny?
They created a term.
Super straight.
They created a term to passively aggressively attack you for not being bisexual. This is what this comes down to.
I know.
You don't like it. I understand you want a family and kids and everything, but why don't you like to suck cock too? Like that's a little intolerant, don't you think?
You bigot. Yeah, how dare you?
That's a 3-day bender from Melbourne down St Kilda.
Allegedly. You got to say allegedly at the end of that sentence, Harry.
Allegedly. Yeah, immediately picking up a tranny.
How does Harry know that? But yeah, that's basically it. They've just turned it because it used to be CIS, which CIS, and I just think Star Wars. But it's now I can understand you can't call it natural because everything is unnatural. But it's the template. And that's with bisexuality and homosexuality. It's still an option in the creation. I've got to say it the correct way.
This is why you don't let Bill Gates run your country, guys. This is why you don't let it happen.
Yeah, I don't think I own anything Microsoft. Begs 2 questions. What is so micro and why is it soft? And it's just it's all about divide and conquer and division, basically. And like here in Australia, you had the Marriage Act. It got changed to because it just said when 2 adults fell in love and got married, and then they changed the wording to male and female, and that caused another change further down the road to include same-sex marriage. It really is. It should be on a basic level, which covers all the parameters, I think. 2 consenting adults that fall in love with each other, basically not children. And there you go. But they changed the wording and are we on our 3rd wave of feminism or the 4th wave? I like the 2nd wave of feminism where quick history lesson. 1st wave of feminism. We want to be treated like equal. Give us the vote. All right. And then 50 years later, 2nd feminist. No, really, we want to be treated as equal. And that was equal pay and everything else like that. 3rd wave, it's like, well, we got everything we want and now we want more. And as someone explained it, that they stayed on the train. Yeah, they got to the platform of being equal, and then they just kept going. And that's where you got the man hating and everything else like that. And have you heard the term TERF? Which is basically a lesbian that will not engage with a biological man who thinks there is a woman.
Just remember, everything progressive is progress for people that aren't as far ahead as Mr. Straight White Male.
Oh, well, it's quite regressive because, like, you can see with the whole race thing that, we want a black national anthem for the country. You're heading on the road to segregation again. And it's just coming from the woke where, like, we're labeling everyone and we're splitting anyone up. As I've said occasionally on this show, being Canadian, Australian, New Zealander, and from the United States, it's an idea. Anyone can be an Australian, a New Zealander, or an American from the United States, and a Canadian. It's just an idea that they let people in if you fill out the forms. You know what I mean? Like in the Five Eyes, England as well, as I would say that the Five Eyes that we're aware of, they let anyone in, and the whole world is basically at least represented. I'm sure there's Inuits here in Australia, probably 3 of them. But you know what I mean? It's like the Australian way of life or the American way of life. And then Donald Trump's a racist, blah, blah, blah. He's against agreement. He's a racist because he's against immigration. Technically, he's against illegal immigration. Fill out the forms.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. On. Those famous Planet Collingwood lols. I've made a point. Yes. I love them, sir.
Your point is taken, sir.
Yeah. Why is there a cork on his fork? Yeah.
I'd like to hear from Harry Springfield Williams. I'd like to know what that cracker has to say for himself.
That bogan.
Oh, what about?
Well, see, now he got you there.
Thanks, Harry. There you go, Harry.
Yeah. What do you? Why are you a rebel? What do you got? What are you rebelling against? Not much. It's a very short rebel with maybe a slight. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm totally aligned with what Bruce is doing. What you say, Bruce, and I'm pretty much very content the way I'm going as well. And if I'm doing a very small scale, I've only got a little backyard of the unit, but I've created my own little jungle that's attracted frogs, butterflies, moths, snails, rats, mice.
Yeah.
Before it was just a backyard.
Harry, if you were a supervillain, I would worry you're raising an army.
Well, I'm running a seeds bank. That's what I'm doing, raising a seed bank, and so I've been harvesting seeds from kale, lettuce.
Harry, you're saying it incorrect. You are raising a seed bank army of plants.
Yes.
Yeah, because plants are really good in battle. They just sort of like
they feed monsters. Yes, apparently.
Well, the plants rule us. Really, they just they give us oxygen, so we finally die and become their compost, and then they eat us.
Well, you seen those bongongo trees in Queensland, the pine nuts? They're as big as coconuts, but they're spiky, and you can't eat them. But when they fall on your head, you're gone.
Unless you're Keith Richards, that man cannot die. He got a coconut tried to take him out. It's like, I thought I was on, and he's still alive today.
So they're just big, spiky seeds the size of coconuts.
Yeah, bigger than coconuts. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's Australia for you, because we're so isolated. We've got our own ecosystem here. Mm. Well, the wombat, the koala, the kangaroo.
I found out about that when I pitched a tent at some big party I went to, and in the bush, in the beautiful jungle, because I put my tent right underneath it. I thought, okay, thank you for telling me that, and off I went somewhere else.
That's nature communing with you. Like, go away. Think.
Where I come from, men go into the woods for sex, Harry.
I don't pitch a tent. Right. I think
he's talking Kabuli.
So wait.
What do you think I'm setting up my tent for? I mean, it was a party.
So then what happens when the woman goes in?
Sorry, Steve. Go.
I think there's a lot of laughter, and then the woman leaves, and then there's a lot of crying.
The nuts drop off the tree.
I think there's a lot of unacknowledged, stuff that happens in the darkness that nobody talks about afterwards.
Have you read Brave New World?
I have.
It's kind of like that, Yeah, everyone's on drugs. There's really crappy music, and yeah.
I've got to turn it all around. I've been raped that many times. I've got to talk to someone about it.
Yeah, it's a comedy show.
It's a comedy show.
It's a comedy show. Go ahead, Bruce.
You know that those Huxley brothers were completely read in, right? The Brave New World author and his brother. I mean, that's actually part of the plan laid out. Pure disclosure.
Yeah,
again,
they were the Fabian socialists. Right?
Yeah. So is there two different factions? Because I thought about, what would happen if you combine 1984, where the orgasm's outlawed, and then in Brave New World, they're all high on drugs having orgies, and that's got to work out well.
I reckon the best take of that is that Woody Allen film Sleeper.
I think we are kind of seeing that now, considering we're living in a universe where everybody has
you broke up there, Steve.
I said everybody's got to, wear a mask except when you're sitting down at a restaurant, right? So it'll be like no orgies allowed unless you're sitting down at a restaurant.
So are you saying that the coronavirus doesn't go below 6 feet? So midgets are totally, and dwarves are fine.
Sounds like it.
Yes, exactly. It'll cover the porn market. Bruce, you're up.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of guys slipping off to the gay rub and tug and coming home and telling their wife they went for a COVID test.
An extensive one.
They needed an excuse to explain the walk.
I've seen footage, unfortunately, of there was a practice dummy for the anal swab. I didn't watch all of it. Thank God.
Crash test dummy.
just the money shot, I assume.
Crash test dummy.
Yeah.
Monty gets excited too fast, guys. Sorry.
No, I don't.
All right. So I gather we've been talking about this sort of thing. So what do you guys do over Skype?
That's Zoom. You're thinking of Zoom.
Oh.
Like that guy from the New York Times. I mean, really. I mean, he decided he had a meeting, and then 7 seconds later, he's got his pants off and watching porn while still on the Zoom call.
So it's a Zoom goon.
I don't like. I mean, obviously, I understand that there's a sexual tension and you need to release, but less than 10 seconds after leaving a work Zoom call.
Lucky his boyfriend was there. It would have been a Zoom spoon.
You know the funny part about A Brave New World? I've got the book in my hand right now, and it's done from Albert Huxley. Huxley. Yeah. Which page would you like me to go to?
Well, no, I'm still watching the show.
We're good, Paul.
84.
You can call Random House. They might be looking for an audience reader.
Hang on.
1984. 1984.
Hang on, 70, 80. Hang on. 80, 84. Okay. A Brave New World. To touch the ference in instant death proudly will warrant symmetry. Solemnly.
You guys got the Common Core there down under?
I'm the worst.
No, we haven't got that far yet.
I'm the worst reader of any book that you could ever imagine. I'm illiterate, so yeah. But so that was the first sort of paragraph. So yeah, that was page 84.
So wait, if you're illiterate, then why do you own a book?
No, it's a friend's book.
Oh, why are you stealing from your friends?
They're having a barbecue.
No, it's to keep the sofa level.
Light the fire.
Yeah, no, it was actually under the seat because it had a little, just a bookstop.
Yeah,
Rocky.
okay. So basically, one of the most prevalent books that shows what type of thing is happening to humanity is like, I'm going to use it to keep my sofa even. Well, at least it's being used.
Yeah, don't laugh. I've got a book leveling out my crossbar to hang up all my kitchen stuff.
Yeah, but which book though?
We gotta find like an all-encompassing term to define these people. These cancel culture weirdos, let's just call them the root chakra cult. Yeah.
Well, cult is basically what it's interesting where cults have risen, not the name, but the actions of the SJWs and the cancel culture, even, dare I say, a lot of hardcore 100% Trumpites or Trumpers, where it's very cult-like.
About it is,
can we be
strange?
I would say it's more accurate to say.
Sorry.
Hang on, Paul first, and then Steve. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. The funny part about that is Australians are actually well cultured, and we actually have books still, that haven't been ripped out of libraries, although some of them have been.
And not returned. Yep.
They don't have to rip them down. All they have to do is not teach you how to read them.
Well, that's correct. Yeah. Like I said, I can't spell to save me life, but I can read semi-okay.
Can we? I was thinking it'd be more
on the spot. That's as good as I could do. So sorry, fellas.
No, well done, Paul.
Well, I mean, you may have lost your chance. I mean, they just canceled Dr. Seuss, and I don't know how I got through first grade English without the good doctor, in my bedroom.
Anthropologically speaking, Bruce, on that root chakra mob, I think we should, call them the, what did I think of? I forgot it now. No, the jive, that's it. The jive monkey funkers.
Funkers, like in the
I think
musical.
It's more appropriate. I think the navel chakra is more appropriate because it's specifically attacking things that are creative, right? It's attacking creative people is what it's doing.
Yeah. Just on a basic level, angels create and demons manipulate because they can't create anything. And so we're seeing like that demon culture of like, and it's seen it with a lot of fandoms where they go into a fandom, change everything so it's perfect for their world, and then leave the fandom and it just crumbles away. Doctor Who's been one of the latest ones.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up to the end of Planet Collingwood. I've had an interesting 2 hours. Thank you very much for everyone being here. Steve, where can people find you on the interwebs?
All right. There is dlive.tv/Zerilath. I do a lot of fun little live streams like this one that I try to do every Wednesday morning. And youtube.com/Zerilath. Announcement at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Me and Dennis Eggleston are going to be having a conversation. If you don't know anything about that, go to my YouTube channel and go check out my Dennis Eggleston interviews playlist. He's going to blow your mind. We usually talk for about an hour. And also, it's been announced, I'm allowed to announce it, April 2nd, I am going to be on the Phoenix Enigma doing an interview effectively on the runes. On April 2nd, the Phoenix Enigma can be found also on DLive and on Theta.
Oh, excellent. Bruce, where can people find your books?
Oh, I just go to Amazon, MacDonald, Bruce McDonald. You'll find them. Stardust Ranch, Light of Darkness. There's a novel up there too. They're all good. You'll enjoy them.
Excellent. I've read one of. I'm halfway there. I need to get the other one. Harry, where can people see you performing? Because you still do that live thing.
Yeah, all over the place.
What?
Andrews, Montmorency, Faulkner, all over. Let's see, and local shopping centre near you. But if you want to know, get inside this mind of this crazy person that you're listening to on Revolution Radio, it's harrythebusker.weebly.com.
Thank you very much. And Ospaul, any passing comments before we go? No. All right. Thanks for that. Big shout out to Cortek for popping in. Apparently he's still listing on his cell mobile phony type thing. And hello, Cortek, and goodbye, everyone. That was Planet Collingwood for another week. We will be back in 20... we'll run out of time, Paul. 6 days and 21 hours. Because the United States is time traveling on Sunday, and so be 5 p.m. Melbourne time. We are awesome. We're 100% listeners as well, so if you enjoy the last 2 hours, donate what you can. We'll be back next week for a lot more laughs and so forth and such and everything else like that. I love you, but from afar. Let's keep it down. See you soon, everyone.